G'day and welcome back to the 40 channel. Now you've heard me talk about these doors briefly before and a few of you have picked up on it. So what we're doing, so as you saw in the past, we had all these doors all painted up and they were ready to go on. But we weren't really happy with them. So there was a few little things in it that weren't quite fixed, left over from the previous owner. And basically I was a little bit too lazy and I left them and thought that I was going to get away with them, which I would have. But at the end of the day, I wasn't happy with the way they were going to be, and I didn't want those doors on here. So we grabbed those doors that we saved from the Aussie Bush, from the old FJ45 trooping. So in this episode, we're taking those doors, we're going to strip them back to bare metal, cut out any rust, which is basically none, convert the rust that is there, and do some serious rust protection on these doors. I've got a bit to learn about this 40. And some other really exciting news is that Chemtools, you may have seen Chemtools pop up in my last few videos. Well, Chemtools have come on board and they've given me a whole lot of products to trial and show you guys. So, which is perfect timing for these doors. So with Chemtools' help, we're going to be able to do some serious rust protection and prevention on these doors for a long time to come. Anyway, that's enough of this. Let's get back into the shed, get these doors finished off so that we can get this cruiser finished off. Righto, so we're just stripping this entire door back to bare metal. I want to show you guys something. So as you strip all this paint back, a lot of it looks, well, it doesn't look great. But as I'm stripping this paint back, there's something that's a bit sneaky underneath. There's all this really fine pitted rust, which is well and truly hidden by this paint. You don't actually see it until you start stripping this paint back. I'll show you what I mean. So you can see all these really fine bits of pitted rust. All this was hidden under the paintwork, and I would have never known it was there unless I had taken this paint back. So what we're going to do, we're going to strip it all back to bare metal, then we're going to treat all this rust before we paint it. So that way, it'll stop the rust, give it a protective seal, and then we can top coat it and give it another 40 years. So this door's nearly 98% finished, right back to bare metal. But as you can see, even going right back to bare metal, every now and then you just find these little pitted rust spots. So just some random ones just throughout the door, and obviously there's some fairly pitted rust area. Well, it's not too bad actually, this door is in excellent condition, but there's some rust in where the hinges went, and those areas, once we get another quick hit with the wire wheel in some of these areas where the rust is, you still can't get that rust right out of the deep pores without removing a lot of metal, and that's something we don't want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to treat that rust with some rust converter, and then we're going to spray it with some cold Gal zinc paint. So that'll really protect it, and that'll give it a prime base that we can put the top coat straight over. So it'll give this door not only some really good rust protection, but it'll be a prime base for our top coat, which will come up fantastic. Then we'll be able to get these doors on and hopefully get this cruiser finished. So we've stripped this door right back to bare metal. Obviously had some type of truck style mirrors in replacement of the original mirrors. So they've gone and drilled a couple holes in here, a couple holes down here. We need to patch them up. So quick easy patch up, bit of body filler, bit of primer, top coat, clean it up. It's a new Bailey channel, glass, all the new mechanism. So we're going to rebuild this entire door, then we can put them back on the cruiser, and it'll actually really give that cruiser that final finishing look hopefully. So obviously, as you've seen me many times before, you don't need much to fix up holes. I do recommend like a nice piece of copper. You put it up behind the holes, fill the hole with weld, and it's not going to go through to the other side, give a nice solid base. The other thing we're going to try today is this product from Chemtools, DSPR. Now this stuff is an anti-splatter, but the difference with this stuff is it's not oily. It's not like that oily spray that you see on some of the others. It gives a dry powder spray, and you can clean up and it won't affect any of the painting that we need to do later on. So let's give the can a really good shake up first. Spray it down. So you can see it leaves a nice white powder. Because as you know, these panels have been sort of squashed together, and even though I've tried to clean out as best I can, there could be tiny little bits of rust or imperfection in there, and that could make it splatter and spit and carry on. This way, if it does that, it'll be a nice easy clean up, and it won't interfere with our paint job later with having any oily residues in it, even though we will still clean it up with wax and grease remover. Righto, so that worked brilliantly. There was a little bit of spitting and splattering. And that just wiped straight off, and the little bits that splatter that were there actually just wiped straight off. That's fantastic. Man, that looks awesome. I'd hardly even need to grind that back. We'll give that a wipe. Little spits and splatters just even up over here and here. Gone. I don't know if you can just see some little splatters around here. Let's see if it goes. Perfect, they're gone. It didn't stick at all, wiped straight off. So all we need to do is focus on these areas of cleaning them up with the grinder. I really wish I had this back when I was doing all the other panel work. Let's clean it up and continue on with this door. Now, I guess we get back to body filler, sanding, primer, top coat, and door rebuild. Bit of deja vu, but at the end of the day, I want my 40 to have the best panels on it possible. So the other doors, as I said, I'm just not happy with them. So these ones are just going to really tie in with the quality of this build. Righto, so as you've seen, these two doors are in excellent condition, but there was a little bit of rust repair that I had to do down the bottom, only a very small amount, which was really good. But there's a lot of pitted stuff down there too. I've cleaned all that out, I've spent a lot of time grinding that out with a wire wheel. But what we're going to do, Chemtools has also given me some rust converter. Now I'm going to take the absolute care that I can to keep these doors absolute rust free for their life. So we're going to take some measures to make sure that's possible. So one of the things we're going to do to start with, I'm going to spray rust converter all down the bottom here, because there is a little bit of pitting, down the bottom of both doors and inside the bottom, and let it flow through and sit there. We'll let that sit there for about 24 hours and we can paint over it, we can do whatever we want with it. So all we're going to do is just spray this rust converter all around the bottom of the doors. Inside the door panel here. Right where this felt goes for our windows. It's pretty hard to see, but we're going to spray in here as well. So it's all about protecting my 40 for another 40 years. These doors are going to be absolute mint, so rust conversion done. Righto, so while we're waiting for that rust converter to go on the doors, thought I'd make use of my time, and this little foam backer, I suppose you'd call it, is where the window winder goes. So it sort of goes in between the door frame and your door card. So it's come off. So what I'm doing is I'm just making a new one, just using the same foam that I used in the heater box back when I did that. So it's just nice spongy foam. It's adhesive peelable backing. So all we do, just got my old one used as a template, laid it down, drew it out, cut it out, done, brand new ones. guys, so that was nice and easy, quick easy little job. I have no idea why they're a hexagonal shape. Maybe you guys can share that with me. They could be square, I guess, as long as that hole's big enough and the right size, it all accommodates the window winder. It shouldn't be an issue. So as you can see, I've got a new toy. It's pretty cool actually. So instead of filling all these little divots with heaps of bog, to try to minimise the bog, try to straighten out as much of this perfect panel as we can get. It's coming up really nice actually. After days and days of prepping these doors, pulling dints out, knocking dints in, sanding, a little bit of bogging still. No matter how perfect you think a door is, there still needs to be a bit of bog. We've sanded all that back. These doors are excellent. So they're going to be a lot better than the doors we had originally. So now we're ready to throw some primer down. We're going to do something a little bit different this time. Chemtools have been really good to me. They're giving me some Gal Max90. Now this stuff is a cold galvanizing zinc primer. It's going to give me even better rust protection than what we would have had before. So the idea is, as you see, as many of you know, many of these doors rust out in the bottom of them. So we treated that rust first. We've cleaned our doors up. We're going to prime with the Gal Max90. And after that's done, then we'll hit it with a high coat primer. Then we'll hit it with our top coat. So as before, any painting, always use some wax and grease remover. Wipe over all your panels, all your surfaces. This is all a little bit like deja vu, isn't it? I have to say, the best thing about Chemtools is that it's all Australian made. We don't have to add thinners or anything to this, so we can just pour it straight in and it's ready to go. So this stuff is really fast drying, so it's fantastic. So you can give it a couple coats every 5 minutes, you can just give it another coat. But what I'm most excited about is its rust protection properties. So hopefully these doors will well and truly outlast me. So we've flipped the doors. Let's give the other side a couple coats. Then we'll leave that for the rest of the night. We'll come back tomorrow to put our primer and our top coat on. So as you saw, we rust converted, Gal Max90, then we put a high build primer over on top of that. And we're just giving it a hit back with some 600, wet and dry, nice and wet, just to give it that nice smooth finish. It's actually come up quite smooth already, but just to give it that final finish, and then we'll put the colour on. So a quick wipe over with our tap-free cloth. So I've had a lot of people ask me and message me what my colour is. So it's June Beige 416 in acrylic. So we're not going to go into the argument of 2-pack versus acrylic today. I chose acrylic. It's what they were originally in, but it seemed to be a bit easier for a novice painter like myself. Anyway, let's get the paint on. So we started off with some 600 grit, now we're going to 1000 grit. Let's finish off with some 1500 grit now. These doors are so close to being finished. It's one of those things that I thought to myself, wasn't happy with the other doors. Oh, no worries, I'll just redo the other doors that are in better condition. Righto, so I'm surrounded by my fans today, which is really nice. So this is the original door that we had, and I'll show you the reason why I wasn't happy with it and why I thought I was going to get away with it. So we have a rubber seal that goes around here, as you know, but down the bottom here, dodgy repair down the bottom here that was left over by the original owner. And to be honest, I was a little bit lazy, and I thought to myself after I found it when I sandblasted it that I'd quickly give it a quick patch up with some bog. For some reason, whatever it was, when I was doing all the panels and all the work, I missed the inside of this. I didn't see it again until I was all prepped up, everything was masked off and I was doing my primer. And I thought, oh, I'll just paint it, and the door seal will cover it and no one will know and it'll be okay. But it's bugged me for so long to the point that I ended up doing the 2 other doors. So that's the story. I know a fair few of you guys have sent me messaging asking why, and that's why. Ended up taking a heck of a lot longer than I thought it would, but the end result's going to be a perfect match for that cruiser, so it's worth doing in the end. So I've wet sanded, I've just given it a quick cut, now I'm going to give it a quick polish, and then they'll be finished. It's funny what memories build up. I remember my grandparents asked me to clean and polish their car that had an old Mitsubishi Sigma. So I spent a couple hours washing it, cleaning it, polishing it, buffing it. I remember my grandfather came down and he said, "That's not good enough, Jason. You've missed some bits here and you missed some bits there." So I went over it again, polishing, thinking to myself, this is a terrible job. I hate it. Little did I know that car was going to be gifted to me that coming Christmas. Sometimes you've got to push through some of this stuff that's a little bit hard and time consuming and sometimes a little bit annoying, but the end result is always excellent. I'm really happy the way those doors have come up. Give the other one a polish and then we're done, eh? So anyway guys, that's the end of this episode. I really appreciate your support. Feel free to leave a comment. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell if you want to keep up with my project. And hopefully next episode we'll be able to actually put these doors back together. So all the mechanisms, windows, felts, Bailey channel, try to get all that back in and get that up in the next video and get these doors on the cruiser so that we're actually got a finished project. So exciting times ahead. I feel it's getting close. A lot of you guys are commenting on how close I'm getting. But I also hear a lot of people tell me it's the last 10% that is the most fiddly and can take quite a long time. So I hear that and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I understand. So please just endure with me. We're trying to get through this as quick as we can because I'm pumped. I'm pumped to get this finished now. So again, really thank you for your support and make sure you take care of yourselves. Until next time, I can't say it because Jack's not here.